It's been a long time since hunters were at the top of the meters in WoW Classic. They usually start strong and then get overshadowed by warriors and rogues in later raids. And after the TBC melee weaving playstyle got nerfed, it took Blizzard months to give hunters a ranged trap launcher to help smooth out one of WoW's most iconic classes. But in Season of Discovery, they're finally getting a much needed rework that'll add variety to the playstyle and give the class some brand new abilities to spice up their rotation. And hunters have always been a very strong leveling class, second only to mages in Classic, but now at the bracketed level bands, let's take a look and break down if hunters are going to be just a little bit more fun or are they going to be completely overpowered. And at the end of the video, I'll go over some rotational changes, some specs and talents that you're gonna want to be looking at, as well as some pre-bis lists that are most likely going to be pretty accurate before you head into the brand new raid. And I have a full breakdown on that list and where to get every item on the members only section of the channel. And before we start, let me just tell you that hunters are in a very good spot for Season of Discovery. So much so that even in 10-man raids, there is almost always a guaranteed spot for a hunter now because they are absolutely essential, especially if you're playing Horde. And that's because of the newly added chest rune aspect of the Lion. First of all, every class is getting 12 runes available to them at level 25. This is the main new mechanic of Season of Discovery. There are choices that you can make to customize the playstyle of every single class and give yourself some extra abilities. But hunters have gotten lucky because they have been given a crucial 13th rune already that is basically one of the most essential ones in the entire game for your party and your raid. And that is, of course, Aspect of the Lion. Aspect of the Lion increases the total stats of all nearby allies by 10%. And on top of that, the hunter itself also gets an additional 10% added to all of its stats. So this is essentially Blessing of Kings, and it looks like this will be able to be used on one hunter to affect the entire raid, not just the party, although that might change when the game actually comes out. And in level 25 Prebis alone, that aspect gives the hunter itself an added 76 ranged attack power. And of course, you can only have one aspect running at a time. That means Aspect of the Hawk, which at level 25 would only give you 35 attack power, is about half as effective as this one. And that's just looking at the rune for the hunter himself. But giving the Blessing of Kings buff to the entire raid, especially being able to bring that to Horde, means that hunters with this aspect will need to be ran pretty much in every single raid. So be ready, if you are choosing this class, then you absolutely will get a raid spot. But from there, let's look at all of the other runes, starting with the glove slot that hunters get available to them. The first rune is Beast Mastery. This is going to be very useful for leveling. It pretty much makes your pet an actual tank. It increases your pet's damage and health by 30% and focus generation by 80%. It also turns your pet's growl into an actual taunt that will hold the target for 3 seconds. If you've ever played a hunter before in any version of the game, you know that your pet's taunt is pretty much useless and it almost will never hold aggro over yourself. This changes things and will allow hunters to do a lot more with their pets themselves. Next, we have Carve, which is the first of the melee runes that could actually change the class to being a melee-centric class. Carve is an AoE frontal that will strike all enemies in front of you for 50% damage. This is very nice because hunters were critically lacking some sort of AoE abilities. Basically, this is a cleave, but it seems like it is completely uncapped on how many targets it can hit. The last two glove runes are reminiscent of Wrath of the Lich King. First, we have Chimera Shot, which hits the target for 125% of your ranged weapon damage. This also refreshes any stings you have on the target, so Serpent Sting, you will only ever have to use it one time, and then Chimera Shot will keep this up on the boss. It'll also trigger a unique effect depending on which sting you have up on the target. If you have Serpent Sting up, it will instantly deal 40% of the damage of that Serpent Sting. If you have Viper Sting, it will instantly restore 60% of the mana that you would be getting back from this. But you don't receive Viper Sting until level 36, so you won't get any use from this at level 25. And if you have Scorpion Sting, it actually works as a disarm, disarming the target for 10 seconds. This effect can only occur once per minute, but this is huge potentially for PvP. And lastly, we get Explosive Shot, which is one of the most powerful abilities in Wrath of the Lich King, although in Season of Discovery, the major downfall of this rune is that it actually shares cooldown with Arcane Shot. This is also very vital to know because it means it also shares a cooldown with aim shot. So if you pick this, you will not be using either arcane shot or aim shot, which means that you probably won't be running with this rune, at least just yet, but just know that this is probably going to be in the future one of the better runes for you. So the glove runes is the initial one that changes your rotation and gives you an extra ability to press. This alone greatly increases the fun of playing Hunter, but it also greatly increases the damage output you have. Moving on to the leg slots, the first one we have is Flanking Strike. This is another melee ability where you and your pet both simultaneously deal 100% of your weapon damage. After using it, your Mongoose Bite and Raptor Strikes now deal 10% increased damage for 10 seconds, and this stacks up to 3 times. So each of your Mongoose Bites or Raptor Strikes could be hitting for 30% increased damage. Raptor Strike also has a 20% chance to reset the CD of Flanking Strike, so you could potentially be using this over and over again. The leg rune to increase damage from your pet is Kill Command. Kill Command increases your pet's damage done by special attacks by 60% for 30 seconds. And each special attack that your pet uses will have the damage bonus reduced by 20%. This means if your pet uses Claw or Bite, you will have increased damage from that, but each subsequent Claw or Bite will have that damage reduced drastically up to 3 times. The weakest rune we probably get is Serpent Spread. This is where your multi-shot abilities will add a Serpent Sting to all of those targets hit by it for 6 seconds. Serpent Sting is very weak in Classic Vanilla. Although this does give you a little bit of AoE damage, it is not going to be enough to make you choose this rune over anything else, especially at level 25 before anything changes. And the last rune is Sniper Training. This is where if you stand still for more than 6 seconds, all of your shot abilities have a 30% increased critical strike chance. This is going to go extremely well for glass cannon builds or in PvP, where you can come out of Shadow Meld to pretty much almost guarantee a crit on your aim shot to one-shot most people. This can also be extremely strong for raiding if you're not going to be doing anything like melee weaving, because if you position yourself well and never have to move, you're pretty much getting 30% increased crit chance on all of your abilities. And moving into the chest piece, it is almost essential for raiding that you run Aspect of the Lion. You pretty much don't have any other choice if you're the only hunter in the raid. But if you're not, or if you're looking at PvP or leveling, here are your other options. The first is Cobra Strikes, where if you crit with any of your shot abilities, it causes your pet's next 2 attacks to crit as well. This would go hand in hand with a pet build where you are trying to have your pet do as much damage as possible. The next is Exposed Weakness, also going off of your crits, where your ranged critical attacks will increase your actual attack power by 40% of your current agility for 7 seconds. For reference, at level 25 in Prebis gear, that's almost 90 increased attack power. And it doesn't say it's purely your ranged attack power, so this would also increase your damage if you were melee weaving. If you want to forego a pet completely and do all the damage yourself, hunters get Lone Wolf, which increases all of your damage done with all attacks when you don't have a pet by 25%. This is another one that would go very well with a one-shot build if you are doing some sort of PvP action, although having a pet in PvP can be incredibly powerful. So just know if you're going for a one-shot glass cannon build, this is what you might be running. And next we have Master Marksman, which increases your critical strike chance by 5%, just a raw 5% increase in your crit, and it reduces the mana cost of all of your shot abilities by 25%. This is very useful for very long and prolonged fights. Now, if we're looking at a raid DPS build for single target, this is most likely going to be your most optimized build. Ignore this chest rune because Lone Wolf will be replaced with that Aspect of the Lion. But Sniper Training giving you 30% crit if this does not get nerfed, this is the most insane thing ever. Also, you will run with Chimera Shot 90% of the time most likely over Explosive Shot, although on Trash you'll probably swap to Carve to be dropping in those melee weaves and doing as much cleave as you can. And for talents, your first grab Efficiency to reduce that mana cost of your shots and stings, then go into Lethal Shots for a free 5% crit. Next up, you have the option of choosing extra range with something like Hawkeye, or you can get improved Arcane Shot, but both of these are gonna be trumped by getting Aim Shot as well as improved Hunter's Mark to increase that ranged attack power on bosses. Then your last talent point will give you 6% extra damage to your crits. And there's actually another build that will increase your single target DPS to be the highest possible. That would require you to be running the Lone Wolf chest rune, and you don't have the Aspect of the Lion. You will drop the points in improved Hunter's Mark and Mortal Shot, and go down into improved aspect of the Hawk. Now you have a chance for your aspect of the Hawk to proc a 30% ranged attack speed bonus for you, which is pretty massive at this level. It can also be combined with the Void Touched Gloves. That is another raid CD for you to increase your DPS. While if you're leveling, you might go with the Beast Mastery, Kill Command, and then you would go with something like Master Marksman to allow yourself to just continuously attack with your pet. If you wanted to go with a full pet build, you can also go into something like improved aspect of the Hawk, or if you're just going for your pet, you can increase its HP, go down into Bestial Swiftness to make it even faster, and then go into increasing your pet's damage. This is another build you can be running if you want your pet tinking some more. You can even get points into Thick Hide. So with everything considered, are hunters gonna be OP? Well, I would say from predictions and what it looks like, any sort of theory crafting, it looks like hunters are going to be one of the strongest classes in the entire game, especially at level 25. We don't know how things will change and which runes we'll get for level 40, 50, and level 60, but right now, hunters are absolutely looking like one of the strongest classes in the game. The meta will probably be to add melee weaving into your single target rotation, and I will cover all of those things as well as any rotational changes on how to min-max very soon on the page, as soon as things come out and we run as many tests as we possibly can. Also, if you want a full breakdown of Hunter best in slot or think about ways you can prepare, of course, make sure to join the channel memberships. I will have something for best in slot for pretty much every class in the game, at least for pre-best before we enter into the raid for everything we know so far. And if you want me to do this same type of video with any of your favorite classes, definitely let me know in the comments what you want me to cover next, and I'll see you all on the next one.